every bit of unwinding that the Trump administration has done to the environmental agency protections in this country. Those have wrought more damage than I think many of us realize because they've been done quietly. Non-negotiable, that we have to make sure we are carbon neutral under any plan by 2050 and preferably before that. Non-negotiable, that we have to make sure that as we move to clean energy, which matters as a grandmother more than I ever thought it could, if we are going to move to clean energy, we have to make sure that we have the incentives in place to do it, and that we are moving our workforce from fossil fuels over to that industry in a way that they are not at a loss in any way, shape, or form as a consequence of us doing it. Thank you.
They take power. They do little to make that power permanent or at least durable. An example of Republicans doing this is when Scott Walker narrowly won in Wisconsin. He immediately attacked and weakened public sector unions. Which crucial power-sustaining and enhancing moves do you support for the Democratic majority elected in 2020?
At the underpinning everything, literally everything, is the small d in our democracy. That we make sure that we allow people access to the ballot and the ability to use their voice. And the most important part of that is to end partisan redistricting. The only way this country is ever going to reflect who we really are and the values that we all hold dear is if we allow people to elect their representatives and not the other way around. If we can't do that, we are going to fail on the promise of what we hope to deliver as Democrats if we have the privilege of being in the majority. The other thing that we have to do is to make sure that we restore the promise that we once made to people in this country that they could be anything they dreamed. I benefited from that. I came from a single parent family, a 9th grade educated mom. I was a single mom myself. And I can tell my story today because people before me believed in investing in me. And I believe so strongly in the idea that when we all do better, we all do better. And that if we're not investing in each other, if we're not investing to make sure that every individual can realize their full potential, we are never going to be the party that others feel connected to and want to support. We talk about these values, and I intend, as I always have, to put every ounce of energy I have in fighting to make sure that we realize them for every person in our state and across the country. Listening to what we had to say. As I said in my opening, I'm running to be a voice for people who need a fighter in Congress. I think most of us would say that many of the fights that we hear at the congressional level don't feel like they reflect our day-to-day lives. I'm running because my 82-year-old mom lives on Social Security, a check that doesn't pay her rent. And she's lucky that she has children who remember how well she took care of us, and we take care of her. We need to take care of all of our seniors like that. I'm running because I want my granddaughters to go to school and not have to learn how to hide from an active shooter. I'm running because I know that people feel so hopeless in their inability to access health care in states like ours. I'm committed in this race to making sure that not only do I do my part to help Vicki Goodwin be re-elected to the seat that she flipped in 2018, and Erin Zwiener to be re-elected in the seat that she flipped in 2018, but that we also flip a pivotal district in Bexar County that lies entirely within this district, House District 121. I'm going to run a coordinated campaign up and down the ballot because I am a Democrat And I want our democratic values to be the ones that are successful in the election so that we can fight as we promise you we will when we are elected. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you. I would be honored to have your endorsement, and I promise you I will make you proud of it if you give it to me. Thank you very much. Us tonight and being such thoughtful decision makers about these races. My name is Wendy Davis. I've spent most of my public professional life in public service. And I entered public service first as a city council person where I served in Fort Worth for 9 years. Then as a state senator where I flipped a red seat blue. I was always in those offices to fight for people, to be a voice for those who I knew were not being heard. And I'm proud of the public service record that I have, fighting for our school kids and for more funding in public education, fighting to make sure that women have access to the reproductive health care that they need, fighting to make sure that we had consumer reforms in the financial industry, in the insurance industry, and the electricity industry. And then I spent the last 3 years of my life fighting to give a voice to young women with the nonprofit that I started, Deeds Not Words, where we train young women to use their voices at the local and state level to drive change. But right now I actually have the most important job that I've ever had. I am the grandmother of a 3-year-old and 1-year-old granddaughters who live 10 minutes away from me in Austin, Texas. And they, more than anything, are the reason that I'm running to be your congressperson. The future that we are planning for them is so vital, and particularly at this point in time. Making sure that we pass to them a planet that will sustain them and future generations. That we make sure that not only they go to good schools, but they're safe while they're there. And that, more than anything, this state is a healthy state where they will grow up healthy and they'll have an opportunity to thrive. Thank you very, very much. I am very, very proud to have received the endorsement of End Citizens United in my race. And as part of that endorsement, I not only took a pledge not to take corporate PAC money, but I took an additional pledge, which a lot of candidates, I'll be honest with you, don't take. And the pledge was not to take money from anyone who is registered at the federal level as a lobbyist. Because the importance of maintaining integrity in these offices is incredibly important. I've raised $1.85 million in the first 2 quarters of our race, 86% of which came from people who gave less than $100. Because I want our campaign to be one that is answerable to people. As an elected official, first a city council person and then a state senator, I learned that it's important to listen to everyone, lobbyists and citizens alike, but you owe your allegiance always to the people who elected you and who are expecting you to serve their interests.
The question next is to you, Senator, as well.
Sorry.
If we put a Democrat on the ballot and do nothing, we will lose this race. There are not enough self-identifying Democratic voters in the district. We have to find new Democratic voters. Democrats are divided on how to do this. Some commit to targeting non-participating working class people with a motivating agenda, and others are seeking to appeal to Republican moderates. Why are people in CD21 not voting Democratic? Where are the new voters in CD21? And what specifically will your campaign do to get them?
Wow, 2 minutes.
Great question. So this district looks a lot like Hayes County looked not that long ago, where people believed it was a red county. And and we had great candidates stepping up and running, and Aaron Zwiener finally pulling Tays County to the blue side of the ledger. The same thing is going to happen in CD 21, where Chip Roy won with only 50.2% of the vote in 2018. We are going to run an aggressive field campaign to make sure that we are talking to voters across this district, that we are inspiring new voters, registering new voters, and then turning them out with a professionally run campaign that has the capacity to do that. We cannot risk losing this race by not reaching every single voter possible. And that means not just the deep blue voters in Travis County, but it means meeting with some of the redder voters out in Kerr County and Riall County, making sure that our values are ones that are connecting with theirs. And I think we're on the right side of what Texas wants to see. Whether people are considered progressives, self-identified progressives, or whether they consider themselves to be Republicans. The most important issue in this district, as it is across this state and across this country, is health care. And I'm going to make sure that the people in this district understand that the choice they get with Chip Roy, or the choice they get with me, is going to be a choice about whether their family has the care that they need. We're also going to make sure that people understand that when we go to Washington, we will be accountable to them and draw a distinction between our voice and what we will deliver and that they're getting from Chip Roy right now, which is one that represents big money interests and against the interests of the people in this district.
1 minute response.